Love it. Okay.
Okay, now I'm getting off to show.
Okay. Now.
Oh, I forgot to.
Let's make sure.
You're dead.
Alright. Oh.
My. It's huge. The size of this.
Oh, I didn't notice anyone was there. Welcome to the Jose Hall Show. Now, let's get this party started. Wait, 1 second. I see. Sorry. My son's playing Minecraft, watching him. I was looking at what he was doing. Now, okay, so, I don't know if y'all seen from the thumbnail what we might be talking about today. Okay, so, as soon as everyone gets here, we're going to have ourselves a little discussion and see where today takes us. Okay, so, like I said, I'm going to give y'all a warning now to let you know that you may or may not like what we're going to be talking about today, because this is on everybody's mind, right? This topic here is probably one, if not the touchiest topic that you can possibly talk about other than race. Now, so like I said, when everyone gets here, we're going to have ourselves a little discussion. Okay, so let us see how it goes. Let me make sure all my notifications are out. Make sure everyone knows that today is the day that we are off to the races. Right. Let's see. Let's see. And where we at? There we go. We have that there. Now, let's see. All right, I'm going to talk two things. I'm more likely going to try to stay focused on the one main portion of it, and then I may veer off a little bit onto the other one, right? Because the other one, it's got some concerns, right? Like, we have some concerns about it, but at the same time, not everybody really cares for the most part. So I'm going to talk about it just a little, right? But I'm waiting for a couple people to get in here so that we can talk and have a discussion, and we can have some back and forth before I get going, right? Now, I'm trying to find out where everybody's at. My notification should be heading out soon, and see. Everybody should be popping in a minute. Dun. Hey, where's my headset at? I don't remember seeing it. I ain't seen it all day. Thought I left it here or something. What do we got here? Alright. So, if anybody's going to be watching this on the playback, what I'm doing is I'm currently waiting for some people to come in real quick so that we can get started on our discussions. Now, let's see. Let us see. Let's see. All right. Oh, that one looks nice.
Stop! Put it out.
Here we eat.
Jeez.
Stupid cat.
Duncan.
What does that say? Oh, I can't see that. Total gun control and trust in the government to take care of you. Sure, that won't be. I can't see it, but that's cool. Okay. Just waiting. What? Shut up, little bastard. Y'all want to see a little bastard? Well, this is a little bastard's always making damn noise. Look at this little son of a bitch. Look at him. Look at him. He's always getting into shit. Little bastard. Hey. Hey, you. You want to be famous? Huh? You want to be famous, little fucking bastard? You don't come sit next to me. You don't come sit next to me and bug me. I'm just looking at some images. What was it? I'm making sure that all my stuff is going out, right? So I want to make sure that everyone is getting the information they need so that we can get this party started. Sending out, the invitations and the welcome mat, laying out the welcome mat and gathering the masses. Okay. Waiting. Let's see. No, let me get back out of this one. Okay. Let's go here. Let's go here. All right, now let's make sure my deal's popped up. Sharing it out on Facebook. Let's see. Let's see. I probably shouldn't have clicked on that. Alright, so look, while we're waiting, I guess we can discuss Eminem's new album. Eminem's new album just came out just recently. That's pretty awesome. We've been waiting for a new album from him. We were expecting to get it last year, but I guess he was waiting. And then, you know, what's funny though is because the fact that you know how Nick Cannon was going after Eminem, and you know Eminem apparently putting out some good work and saying, "Hey, look, f you, you know I got better shit to do," right? So that's pretty cool that he had put out some new stuff. We've been waiting. I listened to a lot of his music, if not all. I don't know everything like word for word, but I listened to a lot of his music. Like, you see me riding around listening to it. Let's see. I am. Hey, how's it going? Hey. So right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to get a few people in because what I want to talk about is guns, right? Okay. Now, if you're not in the you really don't care for guns, feel free, let me know. If you do like guns, let me know. If you think we need tougher gun laws, if you think we need to relax some gun laws, where do you stand on guns, right? See, there's a sparking conversation right now because of Eminem's new song, Darkness. I think that's Darkness. Right, and he sparked a conversation with a lot of different people because the new song is in the vision of the shooter from Los Angeles, or Vegas, from Las Vegas, I mean. So it's about the Vegas shooter. It's from his perspective, and that whole dealing with mental health stuff, right? So he's got a lot of people talking about it, right? And the thing is also is that he's putting down his own view and his concerns and stuff like that towards the end of his video as well. Now, we all seen that Eminem has kind of gone into this political realm of conversating in his songs about what's going on. It's not relatively new, but it's not like him, right? To do that kind of music. And so I think that's another reason why the Revival album did so poorly, is because people weren't really ready and interested in Eminem's view on politics, right? But he's got people talking, right? He's got people talking about the gun laws, right? And at the end of his video, he puts a post on there and it's like, "When this end?" And you know, and it says when people care, right? And then at the end it's like, you know, make your voice heard about gun laws. Go to something vote.gov or something like that, right? To register to vote. Now, I think we all should be registered to vote. I mean, we're all Americans. We all believe in the idea of voting, and it's important that we are out there doing so. Because the only thing is that if you want things to change in your direction or in a different direction, you have to go out and let your voice be heard. Now, even if you lose, at least you said something, right? Now, because if you don't say anything at all, you can't then complain about the way things are. Now, say for instance, if you vote in favor of something and then you didn't like the way it is, you might complain a little bit, but you also have to own up to it a little bit too, right? So that's why I was saying, it's important that you get out there and make your voice heard. But at the same time, there's a constant battle right now for your vote, right? And a lot of the stuff that's going on is like this pinning people against each other, pinning ideas against ideas, and in the hopes of persuading you, and they're poking at your heartstrings as well, right? Because if they put enough tragic events in front of you, they do that so that it can kind of get you to vote in their favor, right? So say for instance, I support gun rights because in Germany Hitler took guns away from the people, then the whole then also Australia took away gun rights and the crime went up by 400%. Yeah, see, if you look at history, right? And you look at history, and what do they all have in common when it comes to gun rights? Germany, Iraq, if you look at Venezuela, if you look at a lot of different places, where they were allowed to have weapons, and then their government tells them that no, they can no longer have weapons. And then what happens is, when something gets out of control, you can then not be able to fight back, right? And that's what it was all about, is taking your guns away so that you couldn't fight back. And I know that when it comes to guns, it's a very touchy subject, right? To a lot of people. For those who have lost people because of gun violence and the fear that they cannot go out in public without somebody shooting up the place, right? If you want to go to the movies, you don't want to be worried that somebody's going to come in there and shoot up the place, because that should be an area that you feel safe. But we always have to remember, though, when you give yourself this false impression of safe, you're actually putting yourself in more danger than you would have if you were in some crazy neighborhood, right? So the illusion of safety is also a very dangerous game to play too, because you let your guard down. You're unaware of what's going on around you, and therefore things happen, right? So you always have to be on your lookout and on your P's and Q's, right? You always have to know what's going on around you. I mean, I don't care what's going on around me. My gun comes with me wherever I go. In Texas, after the shot killed those people in the church in Texas, gunmen shoot up people in the church at a neighborhood next door, having gun permits, tracked him down and stopped him as he was on his way. I live in Texas, and in Texas, we have the open carry, right? We can carry our guns on our sides, and it was a long process for me, right? For getting my gun. Okay, I actually had to wait. I think it was like 3 weeks to get my first handgun because the background check took forever. Then down the line, when I got my license to carry, that also took almost a month, because I have a slight criminal record, and they vetted me before they allowed me to have one. And so I haven't had any issues with my gun, right? I haven't had anyone freak out when I go to the store, right? I'm at the store, I have my gun on my side, it's out there visible for anyone to see, and nobody says anything, right? Because they're not concerned, right? They don't really care. They're like, oh, it's just a guy with a gun. It doesn't matter, right? But what the problem is that, like I said, they're trying to provoke fear so that this item has more power than it actually has, right? Criminals do not care about gun laws. Exactly. Criminals don't care about gun laws. Gun laws only affect law-abiding citizens, right? It only affects those who are trying to do the right thing and going with what the law says and registering their guns or getting their license to carry or whatever the case may be, but they follow the laws, right? Now, criminals don't do that because they're not allowed to have it, so they're not going to let somebody know that they have one, right? Now, this is my frustration, okay? I'm very frustrated at this, and what it is that when someone shoots up a movie theater, a concert, a show, a school, or whatever the case may be, right? You get it all over the news, top of the line stuff. Politicians are all out. We need tougher gun laws. We need tougher gun laws. We need tougher gun laws. But one dude in the hood shoots 3 people and not one word is said. And you have to ask yourself, how many more shootings happen in neighborhoods and poor neighborhoods than they do in these public areas? Now, I understand that it's on a rise, but let's look back a little bit. Let's take it back a few steps, okay? And really take a look at this. And that is, gangsters are idolized for their criminal acts, right? They're idolized for shooting up the place, right? Shooting up their rivals, taking somebody out, shooting at the cops, right? They got albums and record deals and multi-million-dollar homes and all this other stuff because what sells is violence. Violence sells. We've seen it time and time again. Look at any rap song. It's all about killing somebody, effing somebody up, running up through somebody's spot, taking their stuff. Whatever the case may be, shooting at the cops because, you got to make your money and they're in the way. They don't care, right? Now, they idolize that. These young kids and stuff like that are coming up more aggressive than the generation before them because they believe that it's cool, right? They never been shot. Some of these kids have never been shot before, but at the same time, they're like, oh, well, I just got me a gun from some neighborhood dude, and now I'm packing. And now he wants to join a gang and be cool and all this other stuff, right? Or trying to look for whatever reason he's joining. But they shoot up a neighborhood house, killing 2-3 people, or whatever the case may be, and you don't hear about it. You don't hear about these things because they don't care. It doesn't match the narrative, right? They sit there and they see this shooting that happened in this neighborhood, and they go, "Oh well, they weren't innocent. They weren't shooting up innocent people. They were shooting up other drug dealers. Oh, they were shooting up other people. Oh, that person died out of collateral damage because their family member is either gang related or into drugs or whatever the case may be, right? So if it happens in a poor neighborhood or in the hood or some thug or somebody else commits the crime, it's not worth speaking on. Oh, because that's just what they do down there. But then one guy shoots up something and kills 3 or 4 or 5 people. And then now it's this big nationwide thing. It's advertised all over the news. Every news station's picking it up. Everybody's talking about it. And it's because of that stuff is that they put that out there, right? And the reason why they put that out there is almost 50% of the time they put those kind of shootings out there, it's law-abiding citizens that did it, right? They go, oh, this person was legally allowed to have this gun and he shot up the place. Because now they're trying to point at us and say, no, these law-abiding citizens who carry guns and stuff like that, they're just as crazy as anyone else and they shouldn't have them, so we need to take them away from them, right? So that's a problem too, because that's the narrative that they're trying to spin, right? Because what do they want to do? They want to disarm the public, right? Now, I've seen posts before that says, if the citizens can't have guns, then police shouldn't have guns, right? I've seen a post that said that, right? It says, if the citizens can't have guns, police shouldn't have guns. Why would they need a gun if all the citizens are unarmed? And they will say, well, the cop needs a gun because he may run across a criminal with a gun. Well, you just said nobody's allowed to have guns. Oh, but what if a criminal has one? Well, that's what we're all saying. We're all saying that the criminal doesn't give a shit. He don't care that you have this law that they can't have a gun. They don't care, and then there's a reason why these public places are shot up. It's an easy target. It's an easy target. You get a lot of people together, you get them to drop their guard down, and then you open fire. That's what they do. And then, okay, so not only do people idolize these rappers and stuff like that who sing about killing people and hood stuff, right? They do all this stuff, right? And then they sit there and they idolize them. And then if you look back and you say, well, how did these other people probably don't even listen to rap music. These white people or whatever the case may be, they don't listen to rap music. So what's their excuse? Well, guess what? They're idolized just as much as a rapper. Because you know why? Look at the Ted Bundys. Look at the serial killers. They're still telling their stories years and years after their story is over. After they're dead and gone. Because that people would know them for however big of a crime that they commit. Look at Manson, right? Right? Is it Manson? Yeah, I think it's Manson, right? The one from the 60s who had almost like a cult type thing going on, right? Look at him. Marilyn Manson? No, Marilyn Manson is a singer. No, which one is it? I'm trying to think of his name. I could swear it's Manson, but now I'm thinking it's a singer. Charles. God dang it. Dang, I lost his name. I know his name. I lost it. I don't know. Right, but that doesn't really matter. But look at Al Capone. Look at any of these major gangsters and stuff like that, right? Look at all this stuff. And you will see that if you commit a big enough crime, you'll be remembered forever. Right? You'll be remembered forever. The guy that shot up the place at the hotel room and shot that concert, he will be remembered forever for his actions. The different shooters that shoot up a lot of people, they always will be remembered. People aren't scared of the penalty that comes with it, right? They're not scared of it. They don't care. What, life in prison? Oh my God, I'm gonna get life in prison if I kill 80 people. That's all I'm gonna get, life in prison. Or I'm gonna get the death penalty, but I'll probably get killed off in 30 years. I'll get killed in 20 years. And then the whole time, my lawyer's going to be hollering out, I'm crazy. Oh, I'm crazy. Not everybody who does these mass shootings are crazy. They have an alternative motive. And if you're into conspiracies, you almost would think that they're an exact hit. They're not mental cases. It's a hit job. Right? Because what if, right? What if you, like, I'm gonna go there. If you are into mind control theories, and you are into false flag theories, and you don't trust your government, what makes you think that they didn't take a law-abiding citizen who has been collecting guns because of whatever reason he may like them? He's been collecting guns for over 30 years. He's been collecting guns and ammunition for a long period of time. You kind of force him to go against his best interest or whatever, right? Maybe you put some squeeze on him, you get him up inside of a hotel room, and you let him open fire. Did he really kill himself? No one really knows. Maybe somebody was there that was a handler and killed him as the time got closer. You never really know. I mean, if you're into conspiracies and you're into different types of things, you will start to think like, hey, maybe. See, the thing is that why do we all fight for the Second Amendment? Why do we fight for the Second Amendment? We fight for the Second Amendment because we know that once you change something on the Second Amendment, what's to stop you from changing something on the First Amendment? Right? What's to stop you from changing things on the next amendment or the next amendment? Right? If you start to make these adjustments, it's a possibility that you'll start making adjustments on other things. Okay, we take away guns now, then take away your freedom of speech next. Oh, you can't stop me from taking away your freedom of speech if you can't fight me. Right? If I say, give up your guns. Maybe a bad enough incident happened, right? Maybe there's a festival going on, right? And 15 people with armed to the T, and they go to this really big event where there's 100,000 people gathered or 30,000 people gathered at, and these 15 people just open fire, like at a carnival or at one of these big events. Now, just imagine, okay, these people just walked up, they opened fire, and they're like, oh no, we gotta ban guns, that's it, we can't do this no more, we had enough. And all the people, and they weren't just killing regular people, they were just killing children, they were killing people, grown-ups, teenagers, they were killing everybody, right? Then what happens is the government and the people go, no, this has gone too far, we are confiscating all weapons, martial law, we are doing this, send in the military, we're going to have to patrol, we're going to take all these weapons off the streets, and then some years down the line goes, right? Everything seems relatively peaceful. We're going, oh, it seems pretty peaceful, whatever, right? Then people are out marching, or they're out gathering and protesting and stuff like that. Then the government says, hey, you're no longer allowed to protest. Okay? Then they say, oh, no, it's our right to protest. No, now that's gone too. Then you say, oh, well, the government is screwing us, this, and that, right? Then they say, no, you're not allowed to say that. They take away your freedom of speech. Then you're going, no, we'll stop you from taking away our freedom of speech. We'll stop you from keeping us from marching in the streets, for protesting and stuff like that. And then you go, how you going to stop? How you going to stop us from taking all this away from you? How can you stop us? You can't. Because I've already disarmed you. What, are you going to come at me with bats and knives? I got the military. I don't care. I got the Army. I got the Navy. I got the Marines. I got the Air Force. I got the Space Force. I mean, I call in bombs from other places who don't care about the United States. It doesn't matter to us. Because really what it is that not only is that guns are protecting you and your home and your family, right? But it's also to protect you from our government. Because you never know if the government would ever turn on you. And remember when Donald Trump first got elected? What did they say he was going to do? He was going to change the laws to make it to where he's in power forever. We have to get him out of there, right? They were saying all this bad stuff about how he's a dictator. He's going to change everything, right? He's going to do all this stuff, right? Guess what he won't do? Even if he wanted to, he wouldn't be able to do those things, because guess what? The people can fight back. The people have a voice. They're going to go out there and share the information, the knowledge, or whatever the case may be. And if it ever came to violence, they could stand their ground and fight against the very government that we put in power. Because you got to remember that the government works for us. But what happens when our government turns on us? We have to be able to put it in check, right? But we have this problem in society where we want to penalize the very people who are following the laws that y'all suggested, right? But like, oh, well, we suggest background checks. Okay, well, fine, whatever. We do a background check, whatever. And now they're going, no, we want multiple statewide background checks. Oh my God. Okay, fine, whatever. And then like, oh no, we don't want you to have this particular stock on your gun. We don't want this bump stock. We don't want you to have this laser light on your gun. We don't want you to have this scope on your gun. We don't want you to have this handle grip on your gun. We don't want you to have this flashlight on your gun. We don't want you to be able to buy more than 50 rounds in a 60-day period. We don't want you to buy 100 rounds in a 3-year period. You see how this get out of control very quickly? Look at what's going on, what they said in Virginia, right? Where the governor of Virginia said that he was going to put in a state of an emergency to ban guns in their main area, right? Because they're supposed to be having some protest that's going on out there, right? So they're going under martial law. They're going to ban guns. They're going to have the National Guard come out there to make sure that you are not bringing your gun to this protest. And they said that they're going to make sure that they confiscate them from you as well. Right? And I get it. Some people are going to go out there. They're going to get some views, right? They're going to go out there with a camera streaming. They're going to show that the National Guard is taking their guns, right? And they're going to show like, hey, look, people, if it's this easy to take this from me on a regular day, what's to stop them from taking this from me when they're ready to take it from all of us? Right? What's going to stop them? All they do is declare a state of emergency, or they'll call declare martial law, and enforce it. You have to understand that the government at any given moment can put their foot down and say, this is it. This is the moment. We have all the cards in the right places. We got all the right deals where they need to be at. We have the right mindset going on with the masses. And you know what? This is the perfect time. I declare martial law. Nobody's outside after 9 p.m. Nobody is allowed to work at night. No one is allowed to travel without maybe a person with them. If you have weapons, they're going to come to your home and collect them. You know how they know they're at your home? Because you did a background check to get one. Oh, but I didn't register my guns. Well, you don't have to register your guns. Once you did the background check to get the gun, you are now on a list of people who may or may not still have their guns. So they're going to come pay you a visit. And I know a lot of people will say, look, if they ever come to my house to take my gun, we're going to fight over my dead body. And so some cases, somebody might actually fight and stand their ground. But look what happened in Louisiana. Look what happened in Louisiana after Katrina hit. And even though there was a lot of crime going on, right? Because looting and stuff like that is on the rise. But the military went from door to door, making sure nobody had any guns. So if you really look at it and you're going, man, if we're not careful, we are eventually going to get to a point where we can't stop them. And see, this is how they're going to do it. by scaring the masses into believing that the guns are the problem. And really what it is sometimes I think it's other people associated with the government, or in some cases I think it's either something that really didn't happen and they're saying it did, or it happened but they knew that it was going to happen. Like they planned for it to happen. And I understand that I may or may not come off as a conspiracist, right? I'm not trying to be that way. But if you don't look at the what ifs, how can you be prepared for when if it did happen, if it did ever come? I asked a person once before. I asked this person, I said, do you trust your government to tell you the truth? And you have to ask yourself, do you trust your United States government to tell you the truth about what's going on, tell you the truth about what their plans are, to tell you the truth about anything? Why then will we give them power over us in a way of disarming us, in a way of determining what kind of care we get, determining on what kind of wage we make, determining on what our privileges are? Those are concerns that we should all be concerned about. We should all look at these things and say, what if? There was a guy that I used to work with, and his nickname was What If. And the reason why we'd call him What If is because he always had a what if. And I get it. It's a little different because he was more looking at safety as far as like in the workplace. But we're looking at safety as far as a country. We're looking at our rights as far as citizens of this country. We've seen time and time again where other countries disarm their masses and then run havoc on their communities, get their people in check, and then use fear of death to persuade them to act a certain way. But you know what happens when you scare somebody to death enough times? Eventually they won't care. A lot of these terrorists have been threatened with death so much, they no longer fear death. So they become suicide bombers, right? They don't care. They don't care about their life. They know that they're going to die at some point in time regardless. They don't care. If their enemies don't kill them, their government will. That's how they see it. Then they get involved in these causes and these fights against whatever nation or whatever country or whatever movement or whoever is their temporary leader at the time. And they get behind these people and they sit there and they were willing to do what they were already willing to do for someone else's cause. But see, I seen that in Virginia that they said that they were even going to bus in people from Antifa to help with the riots. I mean, help with with controlling the protest, right? Do we all not remember what Antifa does? Do we all not have forgotten what kind of people they are? For a bunch of leftist people, they sure do act worse than the very people that they say that they're against. Oh, you're against the right. Oh, you're against gun owners. You're against gun laws. You're against gun violence. But your ass brought a fucking gun to the same event and acting like a military force. And you're over there all armed up, body armor and stuff like that. As if you're military. As if you're a private militarized organization that is going around trying to persuade people to stop marching, to stop protesting, and this and that. You're no different than the very people that they say they are against. And if you look at Antifa, what do they remind you of? I know what they remind me of. The Klan, right? Whenever there was a certain vote that needed to be going on or something was going on, right? There was a protest about how whites were treating blacks or whatever, and these these communities where they were treating them bad, right? Well, these Klan members would come out there in their hooded ghost suits and go around the community, terrorizing the community. And when they would try to march, they would anti-march, like march against them, and then try to use force and fear to control their actions, right? And in some cases, it would work, right? They would scare them off, and they would all go home, and whatever was being voted for, whatever was being passed, would eventually then get in their favor, right? But that's the same way Antifa's acting, going out there anytime that anyone from the left, anyone from the right, or if there's a pro-life or there's a pro-gun or whatever the case may be, and then what they do, they come out there and they have a protest against the other person's protest, and out there wearing military gear, using violence and fear to make people go back home, because what it is people get scared to march. People get scared to go out there and protest because they think that Antifa is going to show up. And like I said, for a bunch of people who are this vegan, love everyone type people, they sure are acting like a very well-known hate group. And then guess what the Klan used to fight for? The Democrats. Look what Antifa's fighting for. The Democrats. So there can't be a coincidence where they're both interlinked. Right? And I'm willing to bet 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, they'll show that, hey, this group was funded, or this group was founded, or this group was orchestrated by somebody on the Democratic side. Now, if you ask anyone like what's her name, AOC, or anyone else to denounce Antifa, to denounce that she does not want to be involved in any way, form, or fashion with that group, and she won't do it. And the reason why she won't do it is because that they're part of the Democratic group. Because the Democrats are trying to look like this peaceful, help everyone type person, but nobody's really catching on to that mindset, right? Nobody's really falling for their lie. And what happens is that, okay, well, if you don't want to fall for my lie, then I will force my lie upon you. I will force you to act a certain way, right? Remember when that one chick was all like, go out into the streets and confront them and get in their faces and all that other shit, right? I mean, have people forgotten what they had said? So what do? They go and they get in front of people's faces. They kind of to force them to act a certain way. So, I mean, that's why I'm like, man, they're just another terrorist organization going around trying to terrorize people and force them to act a certain way. But when it comes to your right to bear arms, that's so important. If you choose to carry a gun, that's your choice. If you choose not to carry a gun, it's your choice, but it's still yours. Never have I ever got up out of my bed and my gun was walking around the house, right? I never got up and was worried that my gun was looking out the window at the neighbor's house trying to see what they were up to. Never have I seen my gun walking down the street chasing after somebody. Never have I seen my gun hop in my car and go down the street and shoot up 6 people's houses. Because my gun can't do that. You can't do that, right? We want to make sure. Because I'm watching you. I'm watching you, okay? You're grounded for a week. I'm just bullshitting. Okay. But you have to look at it and you have to say, like, my gun doesn't do anything. But I can. What my capabilities are my capabilities. What's going on in my head is what's going on in my head. problem is that this is where I think this is how this is all being played out. News is all about getting you outraged, get you mad, get you infuriated, get you frustrated, get you pissed off with all the people that they're all and all the stupid shit that they're doing. Oh, all these gun owners, man, they just won't listen to reason. They just love their guns so much that they don't care how many people died, this and that, right? Get you all worked up. And they take this innocent person, this loving person, turn him into this hate person, like he just hates this other view and these other things. And then guess what? He starts to hate you so much. And what happens is when you're in a fit of rage, when you are so angry at something, what do? You start to say and you start to do things that you would normally not do. Right? So if I'm keeping you in an enraged state, you may say something you may not like to have said. You may act a certain way that you may not have normally act. Now, if I put this in your head all the time, like every single day, I'm giving you a new story about one or two people who got shot, who may or may not have been innocent, right? Get you all riled up, and then before you know it, you got this person trying to take action on an innocent, gun owner or a law-abiding citizen, and he's trying to make a point. And that's why I say, what if the guy from that big mass shooting says, really what his goal is to make tougher gun laws? That he probably felt that his life and the life of the 30 people he shot or 80 people he shot, they felt that was worth forcing the government to change the laws. Right? What are you willing to sacrifice to have what you want? Right? If you want tougher gun laws and the way to get it is to kill 16 people and yourself, and you could possibly get all the guns taken off the streets, then wouldn't you go, I mean, it's only 16 people, and I can get every gun off the street? I mean, do I have to know the 16 people? You start asking yourself those questions, right? You start wondering, could you even do it? Right? And so, if they feel that the government, because, people on this left, like anti-gun, anti-whatever, wants big government. So if they believe that their government needs their help making sure that these laws get passed, and they may feel like they're fighting for a just cause. Whatever the case may be, you can't read somebody's mental state. But at the same time, this stuff has been on the rise for a while. But they've been talking gun control since before the 90s. They've been talking gun control for a long period of time. But deaths were high back then because of drugs, right? Because of the crack epidemic and because of gang-on-gang violence, right? And I swear to God, nobody even acted like they cared about gang members shooting other gang members. It was the problem when gang members started shooting innocent people. See, when gang members started shooting innocent people, that's when the government turned on the gang members and really started cracking down on gang members and trying to fight these gang organizations and stuff like that. Because now what happens is you forced the citizens to notice that you were there terrorizing the community, and now you've had to point it out to the government. Now the government has to step in and do something. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, really, what do we think is going to happen if they ever do become successful and tightening up these gun laws and stuff like that? And then one case, I think the Virginia person said that they're going to put a ban on selling a certain amount of ammunition and stuff like that. So just imagine you're a gun owner, right? And they can't take away your guns. They're like, I can't take away his guns. I can't take away his guns, but I can take away his ammunition. I can make it to where he has to pay $40 for 10 rounds. Make him pay $100 for 50 rounds or whatever the case may be. Make the price of the bullets so outrageous that he's not buying bullets for his gun. Or he's going to buy less of it. Or whatever the case may be. Now they're turning their attack from the guns to the ammunition. Because they're going to try to get what they want by any means necessary. And if they can't do anything about the Second Amendment because us law-abiding, gun-owning people are going, no, you're not going to fuck with my Second Amendment. And then you sit there and go, well, I'm not fucking with your Second Amendment if I'm taking your ammunition. Well, see, that's how you get shit started. And that's what they've been trying to do. Really, what they've been trying to do is kind of spark a fight to get your everyday citizens to rebel against whatever they do, right? So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get the right and get these gun owners into this fight, right? They're trying to get everyone into this fight against each other, and they're waiting for a legal gun owner to kill somebody that they're not supposed to kill, or kill somebody out of anger and rage, and they're going to sit there and say, hey, look, this is what these gun owners are doing. Look at what these gun owners are doing. We have to take them away from them. See, I know when it talks guns, it's a very touchy subject because the fact of the matter is that some people have been affected by someone who died because somebody pulled a gun out for whatever reason. But you know where people don't care about these gun laws and stuff like that? In the hood. They don't care. It's not these rich or these crazy people out here doing these crazy gun violent mass shootings out in their community. No, it's people that they know out there doing these shootings in their community. It's this constant battle for territory and reputation and so on, right? I mean, they're used to the gun violence, right? If you go to anybody in the hood and ask them about gun violence in their hood, right? Ask them if the gun laws would help in their hood on gun violence. So when I see, say for instance, somebody from the neighborhood or somebody from a certain community, and they're going, oh, we're voting for this particular person because we need tougher gun rules and stuff like that, and you have to ask yourself, I mean, really, in your community, you really think that tougher gun laws are helping you in your community? Right? Because we've all seen communities and heard stories of communities that are terrorized by the very citizens who live in that community. Right? You know, I remember hearing a phrase from one of Biggie's songs where he says, you know, I'm gonna shoot at the cops because I'm too fat to run. He said, I'm too fat to run. And I'm going to pick up his gun. You know what I mean? You know, people are fearful because, like I said, it's what is being projected out onto everybody. But, alright, so when a celebrity talks about guns, or like a rapper talks about gun violence, that pisses me off. You done made you $1 million. You done made you $2 million. You done made you $10 million talking about shooting up a rival gang, shooting up your neighborhood, how you went in the store robbing motherfuckers at gunpoint, how you run up on somebody who's walking down the street and taking their shit, or you running up on anybody and just taking their shit because you got a gun and because you this thug or whatever the case may be, right? Or you talking all this violent shit, then you gonna tell us we need to put the guns down. Motherfucker, you ain't got no credibility. You are the ones that are out there still pushing this hateful shit, like this whole shooting down a motherfucker, and then you're gonna tell us, hey, we need to stop all this shit. No, motherfucker, you've been fucking pushing this shit out and trying to get people to jam out to your shit because you know why? Violence fucking sells. Violence sells People want to fight for fucking whatever reason they can find a reason to fight for. You know, they say that they don't want us in any wars, but then the very first thing that they do is they try to put us in wars, or they won't let us get out of one. When Donald Trump said he wanted to pull out of Iraq, what they say? No, that's too dangerous. We can't be pulling out of Iraq because that's too dangerous. What about the Iraqi people? Well, the Iraqi people have been there way longer than we have. And they wouldn't need our protection if they would pass laws where the citizens of Iraq can protect themselves against their very own people, their government and stuff like that, or whatever the case may be. But yet instead we listen to them use double standards and using this hypocritical mindset on everybody. And then you have to sit there and you go, man, this is bullshit. You just said I robbed the fucking corner store down the street. I just robbed old dude for out of his shoes, socks, and shirt, and took his wallet and fucked his woman out. Whatever the case may be. And then you bragging about this on your record for 4 minutes, 3 minutes, you know, as long as it actually has some fucking content. And it isn't that mumble shit where it's like, where there's just a bunch of fucking sounds, and then you just did all this shit, and guess what? You got citizens of the United States giving you money to hear about how you fucked over some dude. Praising the idea that you just did this to some person or did this to some community, and then you're getting rewarded for your actions. So what happens is in the hood, you get rewarded for your actions. You go out, you go rob a motherfucker, stick up for some bitch, fucking goddamn take whatever you want, and then you get rewarded for that. But then you run across the wrong motherfucker who can defend himself, and he puts your ass down, and the next thing you know, you got your family out on the fucking news talking about, oh, why'd you kill my son? You didn't have to kill my son. He was only trying to get him some money for his school supplies, getting his money for his life. He was trying to change his life around. Oh yeah, he's trying to change his fucking life around with a gun to my face. Oh, that's how he decided to change his life around. By taking what I have. Running up on me. So, oh, he ran up on me. I take his life and I'm in the wrong? That don't make no fucking sense. Now you on channel 26, channel 13, channel 11, channel 9, channel 8, talking to all these news anchors. We need to stop the violence. The crime out here is just outrageous. He didn't have to kill my son. My son was minding his own business, and then all of a sudden he felt threatened or something, and then he pulled his gun out. Or oh my god, he was just trying to make a living for his family. Oh, so was the other motherfucker he tried to rob. So was the other motherfucker. And then, oh, he's not supposed to defend himself? See, and then what happens is, say for instance, he tries to rob me, he kills me, he takes all my shit. Him and his homies, they're all hanging out and whatever, and then they're all in the studio talking about it. They all want to be rappers, and then he's bragging about what he did to me on a fucking goddamn song about how he fucking ran up and took my money and left me dead on the fucking sidewalk and this and that, left my brain splattered all over the place, and giving this vivid details about what happened. And then you go, hey man, dude just sold fucking 20,000 fucking tracks on that one song. He done went platinum on that song about he just fucked over this dude and shit. And you sit there and you ask yourself, should I stop? Should I stop doing this kind of stuff to people? No, I'm gonna promote it. I'm gonna keep going on because, you know, people saw that and they were like, hell yeah. Let me see. Part of the problem in Iraq is the American soldiers went into Iraq and released all their criminals without checking their backgrounds. Now they're trying to clean up the mess and letting all those criminals out are terrorists. Claiming holy war. Look, when it comes to Iraq, everything about Iraq was fucked up. Everything about Iraq was fucked up. If you look at the history on the reason why we were there in the first place, right? If you remember, Saddam Hussein was an ally to the United States. Okay? Saddam Hussein was an ally to the United States, and they also fought again. They actually had a lot of war or actions against Iran and other areas out there, right? And they were using Saddam as their hitman or as their front man in that territory, right? What really also happens is that we are also very close to Saudi Arabia and stuff like that. Well, guess what? What is sold more out there in those areas? Oil. Okay, Iraq is a competitor. Iran is a competitor. All these different areas where they produce large amounts of oil and stuff like that. And since we have ties with Saudi Arabia, guess what? Saudi Arabia just tells Bush Sr. that we need to make a move on Saddam and lower his oil production and keep him from naturalizing his own community and so on, right? Releasing those. The Iraqi people the police weren't going to get involved with the release of those criminals anyways, because the fact of the matter is they didn't want us there in the first place. When Bush invaded, or Bush Jr. invaded after 9/11, things went even further south, right? I mean, no matter how we look at it, the United States plays a role in a lot of fucked up shit that goes on in the world. And we do. And sometimes, we can't be called on our bullshit. We have to hide our bullshit because then other countries would try to retaliate against us, or they would take us to court or say that we are committing these war crimes or whatever, right? And see, the United States have gotten away with a lot of shit because we're considered sometimes a neutral state when it comes to certain involvements, right? When I was saying about Bush Sr. Dealing with Saddam Hussein before, is that since they were once allies and once friends or once associates and stuff like that, and then we used to use them for a lot of different things that were going on out there. Well, Saudi Arabia lets Bush know that, hey, Iraq is becoming a problem. I need you to do something about it. But United States can't just outright attack another country because they don't want these issues, right? We're a neutral place, whatever the case may be. We're just all allies, right? So then they get that prince chick, right? I forgot who she was, a princess to, or she was some kind of high up, like their family was very wealthy or whatever, and she gets in front of Congress and she says how Saddam Hussein is poisoning his own people and all this other stuff, right? Bush gets the okay to move into Iraq and start this war out there, and I think it was Bush. I may or may not be 100% right. My details might be off a little bit, right? So if I'm off a little bit, feel free to correct me. But we we get involved over there, right? We mark Saddam Hussein and the people out there as this terrorist organization. They're just up to no good. And then we put sanctions and stuff like that. We end up leaving out of that territory. And then some years later, the bombing of 9/11 or whatever, and then now guess what? We're back in Iraq, we're back in Afghanistan, we're back out there fighting over all this stuff. And when they ask you, if they'll ask anybody, why are we out there fighting in Iraq? Why are we still out there in these other countries? Oh, we're trying to help their country against other countries. No, really what it is that you're trying to make sure you keep a foothold on everybody else's oil and everybody else's stuff. Look at as much as I like Trump and as much as even though I'm gonna vote for him and as much as stuff like that, look what happened with with the Kurds in Turkey, right? And when the United States said that they were leaving that area, and what he say, we made sure that the oil was secure, right? We made sure. I may not. I know about the stories, but names and dates, I may get mixed up, right? And so if I make a mistake on the details, I don't mind being corrected. I don't mind. Okay, so if I make a mistake on that, correct me. But it's just we've shown time and time again that we will defend our interest and defend the interests of our allies. The problem is that their wars are our wars. Their fights are our fights. But in return, anything that we want out there in the Middle East or anything we want out there overseas, they will fight it for us. They will get involved for us. And we would keep our hands clean as if we didn't touch anything at all. Let them fight, back them a little bit, give them some perks and some rewards or whatever the case may be to keep our name out of what's going on, right? And then what happens is, as long as everybody's on the up and up, everything works, right? Saudi Arabia and everyone else out there that we're allies with in the Middle East are basically our gophers, right? They're the ones we got fighting and a lot of different stuff out there too, right? So they get mad if the United States was to pull out of their communities or pull out or move here, move there, because now they feel like we're abandoning them after we've looked out for them. If you recall, I don't know if you recall or not, that Saddam Hussein, not Saddam, Obama, not Obama, goddamn, Bin Laden. Bin Laden was a hitman for the United States. Most of his riches that he got, because his family is rich. Goddamn. But their family is super rich. He's even got pictures with him and Bush side by side. Right? Bin Laden, right? Bin Laden's got pictures with Bush. The Bush has ties to his family, and yet we act like, oh, this Saddam, he's this new person. He just attacked the United States because he hates the United States. But really, from the documentary that I heard, was that the reason why that he was so frustrated with the United States is because he has been doing all this side work for the United States, and then whenever the time came that there was some kind of uprising or there was something going on in his community, and he wanted the help from the United States, and the United States said, no, we will not participate in that. We will not help you. You're on your own. Well, he got very upset about it. Supposedly he was supposed to be writing a book about his role with the United States. Well, now he became public enemy number one, because the last thing that the United States wants you to do is to discuss what kind of ties that you have with us, right? Because, we are what we are, right? Like I said, the United States isn't innocent, and we can't act like they are. But we back our country because this is our country, okay? But we see the fuck shit that they do to these other communities and these other things, and start these uprisings and start these coups and start this other stuff, right? Because if you recall also that the United States has their hands in a lot of coups, like in a lot of coups in a lot of countries, right? Even Hillary Clinton has admitted that she herself and the United States played a role and coups in South America, so, or whatever, right? So if you look at that, you're like, oh, man, United States, no wonder a lot of people hate us. But a lot of people love us because we do have our freedoms, right? We have our rights as citizens. But the problem is that when you're looking at it, you're going, yeah, we have all these rights, we have all these things like that, but the way that our government acts overseas and with these other countries, what's to stop them with acting like that with us? Forcing their will onto us once we get out of line. Now, that's why I'm saying, like, as much as we love our country, as much as we support our country, no matter what happens, no matter what is going on, and if we start some shit, we're going to back up whoever started the shit. But at the same time, we don't trust them. We don't trust them to just do the right thing. We don't trust them to mind their own fucking business. We don't trust them to stay out of our business. Because you give them an inch and they'll take a mile. But with the government, you give them an inch and they'll take everything you have left. That's just what they do. But I mean, we have a lot of stuff going on, right? We're trying to fix a lot of things as far as like, you know, what all of our roles are, what the government's role is, what we're trying to achieve as a country, because we are trying to improve, right? We are trying to establish even better things here in the United States. The only thing is that, you know, this is a competition to them. Like, they want to be the best, and in order to be the best, they're trying to keep a lot of countries down, or they might just be like, we gotta put more pressure on our own citizens to make them want to be better, right? Like, it's like weird. It's like having a boss, right? When your boss wants you to do more work, right? When your boss wants you to do more work, they talk to you in a way to try to motivate you to do more work. Well, I mean, the government is not any different. They're like a boss. They're trying to convince you to work a certain way, to live a certain way, to act a certain way. And those who rebel, they have organizations to get you back in line, right? You know, there's no different than a militia group, basically, that they develop here in the United States to also play that role, to kind of use force and frustration, or even, like I said, or even sometimes I think they use them to do these political hit jobs, and they do these different things, right? Look at the JFK killing, right? How so many of us believe that our own government is the ones who orchestrated that, the ones who believe that George W. Bush Sr., the director of CIA, was the one that orchestrated the hit, right, on our own president, and then get elected into presidency sometime later. Look at whenever he was president, what did he say? He said, I want to move to the New World Order. And if anyone who keeps up with the New World Order will also know that that's what the UN calls the idea of one government, one currency, and one law for everybody. Right? So whatever our laws here in the United States would be the same laws for every country in the world. And the same way where, you know, we have the dollar here, well, then the dollar would be everywhere. There would be no more yen, there'd be no more ruble, or there'll be no more anything. It would just be one currency. You know, so when they sit there and say that this is the New World Order, that's what they're talking about. And if you listen closely, you'll hear a bunch of rappers, or a bunch of singers, or a bunch of people in Hollywood state that this is the time for the New World Order. This is a movement for the New World Order. We have to think smarter. We have to do this. We have to do that. Y'all have to get together. Y'all have to bond together, because they're going to try to convince you to adopt the ideal for this New World Order. And if you don't believe what I'm saying about the New World Order, you can always check into it and see these moments where they're talking about it. And you have to ask yourself, it was like, damn, is this real? I understand that when you're watching someone else's content, when you're watching somebody else's video, you're watching a video or something like that about the subject, you may be kind of questionable about it, right? You may not value what the person is saying, but it would also spark that concern, right? It may spark that, hey, what if this is really going on? What can I see in this story that they're telling me that coincides with what I've been told before, or what I'm seeing, right? I've said this numerous times. But see, the very first thing that they're going to do in order to push this New World Order is they have to disarm us, right? In order to get this New World Order, they have to make us give up our guns. But the thing is they, as long as people are fighting against it, it's hard to, right? It's kind of hard to force you to give up your guns when everybody feels so strongly about it, right? So since they can't force you to give up your guns, they're trying to get you to change your mind on it. They're trying to get you to understand why you need these laws to help you, right? I don't know if you noticed from the picture that I picked for my thumbnail, it had the picture of the Indians, and it says, give us your guns, the government will protect you. And you have to ask yourself, do you trust your government to protect you? I can't even trust my government to goddamn send me whatever I need for whatever reason, right? If I need shaving cream, I wouldn't trust my government to send it to me. Right? Because I don't trust that there's people too. They're just like everyone else. I feel like there's a lot of corruption in there, a lot of looking out for themselves and this other stuff, right? But like I said, I stand by my country and my government to an extent, right? I'm a United States citizen, right? If someone tries to invade our country, I'm going to fight for our country. When our country's out there overseas doing stupid shit to people, I'm sorry, but I'm defending my country. I'm sorry for your country. It sucks that you're on the bottom of the totem pole, but I mean, that's just how it is. That's how the cards are played. Everybody had equal opportunity to become this superpower. If you think about it, when this country was just Indians, when this country was just the Native Americans running around doing whatever Native Americans were doing, right? And then Europeans come over here, they start taking over, they start moving forward, and all this stuff, right? And as growth happens and stuff like that, everybody else was in a better position than us. Right? Everybody was doing so much better than us. They had been established for longer than us. They've been doing their thing for hundreds of years, for centuries, whatever, right? And then guess what? Little old America comes out the victor. Comes out the one calling the shots. Comes out the one determining who's allowed to do what and who's allowed to do this, who's allowed to do that. Just imagine that the United States tells the Queen what to do. Right? You imagine the United States, which the Queen, the King and Queens and all that was sending people over here, to establish this land for themselves. Right? As part of their own country. And then all of a sudden now we're bigger than them. We're badder than them. We have more military might than them. We have more influence around the world than them. And you have to ask yourself, like, damn, how did something so small in his beginning states become something so powerful? And the reason why is because it was able to translate this idea to the people that anything is possible. And we will give you the opportunity to take advantage of any possibility that's out there. If you see a possibility that you think you can take it on, and then you could become successful. You could have it all. You could do whatever you want, right? And the rise of capitalism and stuff like that. And because there's a saying that will go on for eternity is, you better capitalize on that. You better capitalize on that. And the country and everyone else uses the same motto. You better capitalize on it. Get it while the getting's good. So that's why, look, when it comes to guns, right, there are those who want to hurt people and there are those who don't. Unfortunately, all of us who don't really want to hurt nobody, we will always have the answer for the ones who do. But it's a very unfair fight when they're pointing out these gun owners who legally have their stuff and point them out to the world and say what they're doing, and they're not making action against those who are illegally purchasing guns, who are out there illegally hurting people. All right, we allowed you to make these adjustments to the gun laws, right? Whenever it should have been a no for the vote when they said, "Oh, we should have background checks." No. And the Constitution doesn't say in order to bear arms you have to be able to pass a background check. It doesn't say in the Constitution that, hey, in order to bear arms you had to go see a shrink first. It doesn't say, hey, in the Second Amendment, in order to have a gun, it cannot have this particular attachment on it. It can't have this on it. They didn't say, oh, I know that the musket is 24 inches long or 36 inches long, but if you have your musket shortened down to 14 inches long, then you cannot have it. And they didn't. People were making adjustments to the musket. Stop acting like gun development wasn't going on back then. And people act like that. They're like, oh, but it was the musket. The gun law was written during the time when they had the musket. I mean, it's the musket. You know how long it takes to load one of those? You got to stick the ammo, pour the powder, stuff it down, pack it in. Then you got to put the thing back, and then you got to pull that thing, put the flint in. Then you got the fire. And by the time you get all going, the person you were going to shoot is 14 miles down the road and they done got away. Right? No. Gun improvement has been going on since guns were invented. So you don't think that the United States knew that guns would eventually change? That guns would get better and better and better as they grow? No, they just said, hey, look, it's your right to have it. But we also have a law that says if you kill somebody, you will be sent to prison or you will be sent to death, right? So then, therefore, if you use your gun to kill somebody and it wasn't in self-defense, you will be put to death. Oh, okay. So then, if you pulled out your musket, you shot a guy, you had to prove that you had reason to shoot him. And if you could not prove that you had reason to shoot him, you die too. So how is that any different now? If I have a handgun or a rifle or a shotgun or whatever the case may be, and I shoot somebody, and I do not show probable reason that this is the reason why I shot the man, he was breaking into my home or he was assaulting me or my family, or in some cases assaulting someone else, then if I can't prove that, then I understand that, hey, I'm going to fucking probably die, or I'm going to probably get locked up in fucking jail or whatever the case may be. But see, they don't look at it like that. They don't look at it like that. They don't want to use reason. They don't want to use logic. And why is it that they ignore it, right? And if you ask a lot of these people on the left, do you think that we should give up guns? And they're like, yeah. Australia did. Australia had a buyback and this and this and that. You have to understand, first of all, because remember when the Democrats were talking about having a buyback here in the United States? How the fuck are you going to buy back something you didn't sell me? How the fuck are you going to use my tax-paying dollars to buy back a gun that you did not give me? You didn't sit there and say, hey, sir, would you like to buy a U.S. government-approved handgun? Do you want to buy this U.S. government-approved rifle? Do you want to buy this U.S. government-approved shotgun? And then I'm going, oh my God, yes. Yes, U.S. government, let me buy this gun from you. I give you $350 for that pistol over there. Oh, here you go. Here's your $300. Thank you for the guns. Autographed by the U.S. government. And then 20 years down the line, they say, hey, look, guns are getting out of control. I'm going to have to buy my guns back. Okay? I'm willing to give you a full refund for what you paid for it. I know you don't want to give me the gun back, but we're going to force this gun buyback law onto you, and you're going to buy this thing back. I'm going to buy this thing back from you for the full value in what you gave me. See, that is a gun buyback. That is a system of gun buyback. You're not going to go to the gun store, buy a 9mm pistol, and then 5 months later, the store is going to come to your house and ask you, can I have that gun back? Here's your money back. No, they're not going to do that. I mean, so when Australia's gun buyback happened, Australia got screwed. Because Australia pays taxes as well to their government. And now the Australian people voted or whatever to have their guns bought back from them, their rifles bought back from them. And it was mandatory. A mandatory gun buyback. But they used tax-paying dollars to buy back these guns. I'm not saying Australians are stupid, but I mean, come on, dude. You basically got a refund. You basically got a tax refund. And we have to ask, is it safe in Australia? I heard stories about the Hells Angels setting up over there. I've heard about the shit that goes on over there in Australia, which is crazy because, I mean, they're in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like, seriously, it's just fucking desert, kangaroos, koalas, fucking giant shit that wants to kill you. I swear to God, Australia is just surrounded by death. Okay? You can't leave unless you're on a plane that could come down and crash. You can't leave unless you go out on a boat in which it could sink. You can't swim because you get eaten by a shark or stung by those box jellyfish that would paralyze you and put you in fucking shock within a few minutes of being stung by the little bastards, right? You can't walk around freely without being assaulted by a kangaroo or fucked over by an alligator, a crocodile, because they have large amounts of crocodiles out there. You cannot get, like I said, you're end up in a fist fight with a kangaroo, all right? You have these giant ass fucking spiders. They have some of the most venomous animals out there that want to fucking kill you. You know, and then it's surrounded in the fucking desert in the fucking middle. Like, most of their cities are on the coastal areas. They have some establishments inwards, but I mean not as much as on the outer skirts of Australia. Then you have to ask yourself, like, Australia, I mean, god dang, everything wants to kill you. You know? So, what they call it, the dingo? The dingoes, they have dingoes out there, whatever. Whatever, right? I'm not talking shit about Australia. I think it's cool that they have kangaroos and koalas and shit like that, right? They have some of the most beautiful coastal areas that you would ever see. The United States Navy has ports there or whatever. They dock there, where the Marines that ride with them get to go and view the land of Australia and stuff like that too. Very beautiful place in some areas, but at the same time you have to ask yourself, I mean, are they fucking stupid? Like, why would you say yes on allowing the government to use your tax dollars to give back to you to take away something you bought? Right? That makes no sense. It's like saying, hey, I bought this laptop, right? And the government says, hey, I know you bought that laptop from this store or whatever the case may be, but we're buying all the laptops. And I'm going to give you a check for $400 for the laptop. But like, no, you can go fuck yourself, because I know that $400 you're trying to give me is the $400 I gave you last month in taxes. Oh, that $400 you're trying to give me? Oh yeah, that's how much you took from me for getting overtime last week. Right? So that's why I'm saying, like, come on now. You know, we have to be logical about some of this stuff. But when our celebrities, right? I'm not gonna bash them too bad. I really don't care about what most of them think or say, because, like I said, a lot of their credibility is out the fucking window. It went flying out the fucking window when they opened their fucking mouth and made all their money talking about all the crimes and all the stupid shit that they fucking did, and then tell us that we should do better. Oh, we should do better. Motherfucker, y'all done made all this money. Y'all done all this shit. Don't fucking tell me no shit. Don't fucking tell me what I should or should not do. I said before that, look, these celebrities think they fucking know us. You don't fucking know us. Stop acting like you do. Stop trying to push your shit onto us. Look, we don't give two fucks. Okay, a lot of us just want to live our fucking lives and mind our own fucking business and not care what the hell is going on out there in the world. All I care is about my fucking bubble here where I'm at, the people that are in my bubble. Okay? But every now and then I have to still always keep looking because there's people outside my bubble who want what I have, who are willing to kill me to have it. Right? They're willing to take whatever efforts it is to have what I have. Because I work really hard for what I have, and they see me as an easy mark. I'm telling you right now, I ain't no fucking easy mark. I'm gonna fucking goddamn stand my ground. You know, and that's why I love. That's why I love Texas, right? You know, this is a stand your ground fucking state. Stand your fucking ground. And my home and my car are equal to each other. So I'm allowed to protect my home in the same way I'm allowed to protect my car. And my car and my home is the same. So, you know, we're going to fucking stand our ground. And we've shown it time and time again. Look at the shooting at the church, right? Stand in the fucking ground and goddamn defending the people around you. Now, I get it. It's scary out there. Scary out there knowing that anybody with a gun could possibly just open fire on you. But we can't live our lives in fear. We can't be fearful that everyone's out to get us. If we make these gun crimes even more punishing and even more public, then we can probably get ahead of this. If we were executing mass shooters in public and making a very public event out of handling these criminals like this, then you'd be like, man, you know what? I don't want to do that because they're going to do me like this. They're going to do that, whatever, right? There was a time when people were feared. They feared the law. They don't fear the law. They fight the law. There used to be a time when they fear the government. They don't fear the government. They're fighting the government. They're not scared. They don't care. You know, whatever happens, happens. Everybody wants to blame it on depression and stuff like that, but I know a lot of people who are depressed. And guess what? They're not going out fucking shooting up the place. They're not going around shooting up the neighborhood. They're not going around shooting up people because they're watching a movie or because they're at a concert or whatever. No, the most depressed people are fucking at home, laying in bed, fucking depressed, wishing that they could either end their own lives or wishing that they would feel better. And if there's anyone out there suffering from depression, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to give you any help. All I can tell you is to find some way to distract you from your depression. Do I suffer from depression? I don't know. I don't have time to wonder if I do or not. And if I did, I'm doing pretty damn well then. Right? I'm doing pretty well coping with it if I do. Because I hear that everybody suffers from depression at some point in time. But because I suffer from depression from time to time, or someone else suffers from depression from time to time, that should be no reason to take away his law-abiding, his rights as a citizen, simply because of some of his downtimes and his emotions and stuff like that. How many times have people been killed over emotion? Not every death is caused by a gun. You know, they say knives and hammers are the top two leading killing instruments here in the United States. And if you don't believe me, you can find out that the FBI dropped a thing saying that the top weapon in most murders is a fucking hammer. And then it's the knife, and then it's the gun. So you mean motherfuckers are going around just beating the shit out of people with a hammer? No, those are crimes of passion. Nobody kills anybody with a hammer just because. The same thing with a knife. They say a knife is a crime of passion. You can almost justify the murder if the passion was just right. But see, when a crime with a gun, you are disconnected, they say. That's not a crime of passion. That's just a crime. That's just you acting out in maximum effort to wound or kill the person that you're after, right? Oh, so the person who stabbed that motherfucker 32 times wasn't really trying to kill him? That motherfucker. Remember the person that was running around in California that did all those fucking stabbings? They stabbed like fucking 6 people or some shit.
What the hell?
Oh, no. Hey, I appreciate you stopping by, right? I know I'm over here doing my own thing, and I appreciate you stopping by and enjoying the show. Go eat. I'm going to be eating soon, too. My dinner time is at 7. My wife's cooking fajita right now, so I'm going to be eating soon, right? So as soon as she says the word, and I'm out. I'm going to be out, and I'm going to eat just like you're eating. So I appreciate you stopping by. You know, I respect anyone who's willing to come here and and have these conversations with me, regardless of their views. Right? You stand where you stand. I stand where I stand. But the fact that we can have a mutual conversation, regardless of our points of view, that's more important than anything in the world. So I hope you have a good night. Wish your mother a happy birthday. Right? And I hope your dinner's good. So, if you happen to, if you haven't left yet, I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So feel free to stop by on any of those given days, and we'll have more conversations. Okay, so I appreciate you coming by here and hanging out. Oh, wait, before you leave, can you hit the like for me real quick before you leave so I can get my likes up? Sorry. Like before you leave. You know, I just looked at my little light bar. My little light bar is looking real depleted. Alright, so let's see. Let's see what else is going on. Now. It's weird when it's weird whenever it's weird when you have to tell people like hit the like or hit the share or hit the subscribe and stuff like that, right? Because I used to hear that all the time on people's YouTube channels. Like whenever I'd go watch them, they'd be like, "Oh, don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe, and all that other stuff." So it's weird having to say all those things. But I also know how important that is for my growth as my channel. So I do appreciate it. All right, man. Yeah, no, keep in touch, man. I'm not far away. 3 times a week you can find me around this time. So I appreciate you stopping by, though. Now, let's see what else I can get myself into before I go to eat. All right, let's see. Oh, okay, I'm not simulcasting or nothing right here. This is a little 15-minute video. It says 5 reasons no nation wants to go to fight with the U.S. Navy. I want to know these reasons. I watch all kinds of stuff, so I want to know. Let's see. Okay, so this is only, I think it's at 13 minutes or 15 minutes, right? That might give me enough time before I go eat. So, real quick. Let's see if y'all can hear this, right? And I'm going to flip this camera around, too, so y'all can take a look at it, right? So, hold on one second. Let's get that going. All right, wait. Pause. Okay. Open this up. All right. So, like I said, I'm going to do this real quick because I'm probably going to do this and then end the show after this, right? And this, like I said, this is going to be the 5 reasons no nation wants to... God dang it. Open that back up. No, get bigger. No, open it. Pause.
5 reasons no nation wants to go to war with the U.S.
Oh my God, you. Okay. God dang it.
The United States Navy is the largest and most advanced navy in the world, fielding everything from aircraft carriers and maritime patrol aircraft to submarines, destroyers, and unmanned helicopters.
Hold on. No thanks.
So, when your editor asks you to choose the Navy's 5 most lethal weapon systems, your most difficult challenge is trying to narrow it down to just 5 selections. For this article,
Let me see. Hold on. I know I'm super close. I know. Don't judge me. Okay. Alright, so I'm flipping this around. Okay? So, bear with me. Alright. And nope, you gotta slide that back some. There we go. Nope, gotta put this leg over here. Okay. Alright, so I said I got a little tripod, so now I said no thanks. I don't want your YouTube TV. Okay, you already heard the beginning, so I'm not gonna play it back. So let's see. Let's do this, and y'all can see that, right? Now I'll play it. Now.
Bypass the larger platforms such as the aircraft carriers and amphibious assault ships. To be sure, those are actually the most lethal weapons in the Navy's arsenal. However, everybody knows them, and as big platforms, they're actually the sum of many smaller ones. Instead, I wanted to highlight platforms that were outstanding in some particular way, with an emphasis on the biggest bang for the buck. I also wanted to spread out the selection. It's easy to merely include surface ships and submarines, ignoring aircraft and certain missions. Before proceeding, it's worth noting that the Navy is currently on the cusp of a technological revolution, with new ships, fighters, radars, lasers, railguns, and unmanned systems on the horizon. In 10 years, a repeat of this list may look very different. Here's 5 reasons no nation wants to go to fight with the U.S. Navy.
You get closer.
Oh, really? It
still works.
Nah.
Still works. Still works. Nah, I don't need a new one yet.
Oh shit, that's me. I'm sorry. Dropping my phone every fucking where. All my phones are 15%. Alright, I think I have time.
Number 5. Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer. Named after the legendary World War II admiral, the Arleigh Burke-class destroyers are some of the most balanced, capable ships fielded by any modern navy. The Burke-class is the backbone of the fleet, with some 62 vessels comprising over a fifth of all the ships in the Navy. The heart of the Burke's combat systems is in its Aegis radar system, which is capable of directing a variety of air defense missiles against incoming targets. Aegis can coordinate the defense of an entire naval surface group, and with new cooperative engagement capability, the Burkes can fire on targets at extended ranges using targeting data from platforms such as the E-2D Hawkeye. The Burke class is also capable of launching evolved Sea Sparrow air defense missiles against short and medium-range targets, and SM-2 and SM-6 missiles against long-range aerial targets. Many destroyers also have a ballistic missile defense capability and can launch SM-3 missiles specialized for engagement of ballistic missiles. For anti-submarine warfare, the class has a built-in SQQ-89 sonar system, with a towed sonar system scheduled for future upgrades. The ship mounts 6 Mark 46 anti-submarine torpedoes. The ship's embarked MH-60R anti-submarine helicopters provide long-range anti-submarine capability, although only later versions of the Burke class were built with hangars. For a modern ship, the Burke class is heavily armed with conventional guns. A 5-inch, 127mm gun is mounted on the bow, capable of anti-ship, shore bombardment, and even a limited anti-air role. 2 25mm guns and 4 50-caliber machine guns were added after the suicide attack on the USS Cole in 1999. Finally, each ship has 2 Phalanx 1B close-in weapon systems designed to shoot down incoming missiles, but capable of firing on helicopters, UAVs, and small boats as well. One area where the Burke class comes up short is in its ability to engage enemy ships. The ships are anemic in their anti-ship capability, with only older vessels even fielding 8 aging Harpoon anti-ship missiles. This has been by design, as no credible surface threat has existed, and the Navy's concentrated on the global war on terror mission. Missiles such as the Norwegian Naval Strike Missile and the Lockheed Martin Long-Range Anti-Ship Missile are in development and hold great promise as a future anti-ship missile of the fleet. The ships will likely be the longest class in production ever fielded by the U.S. Navy. Arleigh Burke herself was commissioned in 1990, and production is expected to continue for another 15 years. That would mean nearly 40 years of near-continuous production for a single type of destroyer. Number 4.
You
You don't have to be a tech YouTuber to get sweet deals on the stuff you find online.
Oh,
You
yeah?
just need to install Honey. If you don't already know, Honey is a free...
Alright, let's see what these other things are.
Number 4. EA-18G Growler Electronic Attack Aircraft. Based on the successful FA-18F Super Hornet, the EA-18 Growler is an electronic warfare aircraft with the performance of a fighter. Unlike its predecessor, the EA-6B Prowler, the Growler is capable of being used more aggressively, pacing high-performance fighter bombers on dangerous missions. The Growler is basically a two-seat Super Hornet with 90% commonality in some features between the two planes. The Super Hornet's internal M61 gun is deleted to accommodate an AN/ALQ-227 communications jamming system, and AN/ALQ-99 radar jamming pods are fitted to the plane's weapon stations. Growler has 3 key capabilities. Firstly, it can conduct suppression of enemy air defense missions in support of drones or UAVs. Growler can jam communications and enemy radars on the ground and actively attack radars with anti-radar HARM missiles. Second, Growler can conduct standoff and escort jamming against air defenses on the ground, enemy airborne early warning platforms, and enemy fighters. Growler can keep up with fighters conducting a counter-air strike and keep enemy radars and communications scrambled. Third, Growler is also capable of what's called non-traditional electronic attack, a somewhat mysterious capability which supposedly allows it to integrate with ground defenses. In addition to those capabilities, Growler can also self-protect, allowing fighters that would otherwise escort it to be used elsewhere. Growler is as fast and maneuverable as an FA-18F, and can still carry AMRAAM air-to-air missiles for defensive use. Despite its electronic warfare designation, it's still equipped with an APG-79 multi-mode EASA radar and a helmet-mounted cueing system for air-to-air combat. 100 Growlers have been delivered as of May 2014, and another 15 aircraft have been approved as part of the 2015 Congressional Defense Budget.
Number 3. What? You haven't played World of Warships yet? Why the hell not? Playing World of Warships will allow you to walk on water, fire... Number 3.
Virginia-class attack submarine. One of the most successful weapons programs of the post-Cold War period, the Virginia-class attack submarine combines one of the most advanced nuclear attack submarines with an affordable shipbuilding program. At least 33 units are planned. Each Virginia-class is 377 feet long and 34 feet in diameter, and weighs 7,800 tons submerged. Each has 12 vertical launch tubes for Tomahawk missiles, as well as 4 533mm torpedo tubes capable of launching Mark 48 ADCAP homing torpedoes, mines, and torpedo tube-launched unmanned underwater vehicles. Subs of the class are also equipped with lockout chambers for divers and can carry SEAL mini-submarines. In addition to their attack mission, Virginia submarines are also useful surveillance platforms. Each has an extensive sonar suite with bulb, sail, and chin sonars covering the front hemisphere, sonar arrays on the flanks, and a towed array to detect objects in the sub's wake. The ship is equipped with electronic support measure sensors for detection of enemy signals and optronic sensors. These sensors can be augmented with data from UUVs and special forces. Intelligence can then be relayed to the surface and beyond via high-rate data transmitters. The Virginia class is also a success from a cost perspective. The Seawolf class that preceded it was a financial disaster. 29 submarines were planned, but the first 3 ships averaged $4.4 billion each, and plans for further submarines were terminated. The Virginias, on the other hand, have come in at an average of just under $2 billion each. Even better, by 2011, they were being delivered early and under budget. USS Mississippi was commissioned a year early and $60 million under budget. In May, the U.S. Navy ordered 10 submarines from General Dynamics Electric Boat and Huntington Ingalls for $17.6 billion, making the per-unit cost a bargain at $1.76 billion. Under the agreement, each shipyard would churn out a submarine a year for 5 years, ensuring that 2 submarines would join the fleet annually.
Oh my god, another ad?
Number 2.
So you gonna pop
Ohio
in?
class.
You gonna pop in on
If you
everything.
ever buy anything from Apple, you should use Wikibuy. It's a browser
Nobody
extension that
cares.
automatically compares Amazon's prices to other sellers.
Did I press it? I think I did.
Number 2.
Okay.
Ohio-class cruise missile submarine. The 4 guided missile submarines, SSGNs of the Ohio class, Ohio, Michigan, Florida, and Georgia, are 4 of the most heavily armed ships in the world. Each is equipped with 154 cruise missiles and can carry up to 4 platoons of Navy SEALs. Originally constructed as ballistic missile submarines, each submarine carried 24 nuclear-tipped D-5 Trident submarine-launched ballistic missiles. Under the terms of the START II treaty, the United States was left with 4 excess ballistic missile submarine hulls. Rather than decommission them, the U.S. Navy paid $4 billion to convert them to carry conventionally armed Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles. 22 of the Trident missile silos were converted to each hold 7 Tomahawk missiles. The result is a stealthy cruise missile platform capable of firing 154 Tomahawk missiles, a unique capability that greatly increases the U.S. Navy's firepower. The precise loadout of each submarine is classified, but includes some mixture of Block 3 Tomahawk and Block 4 Tomahawk missiles. Tomahawk Block 3C has a single 1,000-pound conventional warhead and a range of 1,000 miles. Block 3D has a payload of 166 cluster bomblets and a range of 800 miles. Each missile features multiple navigation methods and can guide itself to target by inertial navigation system, terrain contour matching, digital scene matching area correlation, and GPS. Tomahawk Block 4E adds the capability for each missile to conduct reconnaissance, bomb damage assessment, and retargeting. The missile can send back an image of the battle area in order, loiter while new target data is drawn up, and then substitute a new target for the old one. The missile is also significantly cheaper than previous Tomahawks. The remaining 2 Trident launchers were converted for use by Navy SEALs and feature lockout chambers for exiting the submarine underwater. The Ohio-class SSGNs can each carry 66 SEAL commandos, as well as embark a combination of 2 midget submarines or dry dock shelters. The Ohio submarines fired their first missiles in anger on March 19, 2011, during Operation Odyssey Dawn. USS Florida fired 93 Tomahawks against Libyan military targets. In the future, the cruise missile submarines could be used as motherships for unmanned underwater vehicles, UUVs.
Oh, here goes another ad.
Number 1.
My name is Elin, and my car is a 2016 Mercedes C-Class. Turo allows people to share their own cars, their personal cars, with other people. 90%.
I'm not sharing my car with nobody, even if it was nice.
Number 1.
USS Ponce. It may seem strange for an aging amphibious transport dock to be on this list, and indeed a week ago it wouldn't have made the cut. The 43-year-old USS Ponce, launched in July of 1971, served for years as a transport for U.S. Marines. Now it's in a float-forward staging base, and the first ship in the U.S. Navy operationally armed with a laser weapon. Wednesday, the U.S. Navy revealed that the Laser Weapon System, or LAWS, is now an operational weapon system. The laser system is cleared to be fired in combat. The laser system is designed to target unmanned aerial vehicles, slow-moving helicopters, and fast patrol craft. In a video released by the Navy on YouTube, the laser detonates RPG-7 anti-tank rocket, burned out the engine of a small boat, and shot down a small unmanned aerial vehicle. The process appears to take a fraction of a second. The U.S. Navy claims that, per the Geneva Convention, the laser will not be used to target individual humans. It's safe to say, however, that detonating explosive devices, fuel, or causing catastrophic damage to a vehicle could have lethal consequences for the crew. No details exist on the range of the Laws or how many shots it can fire in an engagement. The laser light does not appear visible to the naked eye. The system appears to be aimed by a shipboard operator using a modified video game controller. In a world of high-cost weapon systems, one of the most remarkable things about Laws is the cost. Laws costs only 69 cents per shot, with apparently only one shot needed to disable a small boat. The Griffin missile, which the U.S. Navy had also considered using against small boats, cost $99,000 each. RAM, the point defense system that might otherwise engage UAVs, costs well over $250,000 per missile. Laws even compares favorably with the $20,000 cannon round fired by the Phalanx close-in weapon system. Well, we don't know how much the entire Laws system actually costs. These per-shot numbers are encouraging. Laws is a 30-kilowatt laser system. The U.S. Navy plans to test more powerful 100 to 150 kilowatt systems within the next 2 years.
Alright. Pause that. Alright. I said pause. Damn it, you. Did pause? Okay. Alright, let me switch this back around. Okay. So, we've had a conversation. We talked about guns. We talked about other countries. We talked about our own... Oh, God dang it. We talked about our own country and our own issues and stuff like that, right? Stuff that we get ourselves involved in. And then we finished off with the 5 reasons why other nations don't want to go to war with our Navy, right? There's a lot of reasons why they don't want to go to war with us, with the largest military spending budget in the world, okay? Like, literally, no one spends more on military than the United States does. But, so, look, on closing, if we don't sit here and talk about the troubles that this nation is having as far as the rise in gun violence, look, I get it. We all want to stop gun violence. But the only different thing is that the methods in which y'all are trying to push onto us for stopping gun violence only affects those who are trying to do things the right way, right? So before you start attacking those who are doing the right thing, start attacking those who aren't doing the right thing, who are not abiding by the laws. So until you can tackle those particular things and get those things handled, then we can discuss something further. But for now, look, the guns aren't going anywhere, but we have to be careful. They're attacking us in so many different ways. And like I said, ammunition is the next thing that's going to be attacked. Because if they can't take our guns, they will then take our ammunition, right? They won't allow us to ship it in from another country. They won't allow us to manufacture our own. And then they'll limit us to how many rounds we're allowed to have per year. And in order to get a new set of ammunition, you probably have to trade in ammunition in advance. And I wouldn't be surprised if they go as far as barcoding the shells, right? So you see some kind of system like that. So I'm not trying to give them any ideas, but the fact is that, look, change will happen and things are going to happen. But if anything's an example, what they're doing in Virginia has shown how easy it is to turn on everyone and enforce your will onto the people. So look, this has been the Jose Hall Show. We had a great conversation. I'm going to go eat dinner right now, and I will see y'all again Monday. Alright, so if I do stream later, or if I do a video or something like that, you will be notified. But for now, I hope everyone is having a great day, and I am out of here, and I will see y'all Monday.